Hey everyone, Dr. Alex Ritzy here. Welcome again to the Better Ever After podcast. This is episode 42, and today we're going to be talking about balance. And we're going to be talking about why I think that balance is the wrong thing to shoot for, despite it being one of the most common goals that we hear from in the office, from the people's cases that we review, that they want more work-life balance, more time for family, more time for friends, more time for exercise, more time for relaxing, more time for just about everything except for work. And while I think that all of these things would be great to achieve in an ideal world, there's only so much time in the day. And in my experience, when most people, and this includes myself, search for more quote-unquote balance, we almost always end up spreading ourselves thin, and we almost always end up focusing on things that are not actually that important to us, or maybe are not the most important things in our life. And so when you're going through a time when work is really demanding, and maybe family life is really demanding, and you don't have time for exercise, it's really easy to get down on yourself, to be stressed that you're not achieving better balance in your life, and to be anxious that you're not working towards your goals and are maybe not quote-unquote doing your best. And in my experience, this stress and anxiety that we can impose on ourselves for not achieving the balance that we want can completely negate a lot of positives in our life, because in my experience, and what I think we should be shooting for is not balance, but what I say is harmony. And that means spending time and spending energy on the things that are most important to us in our lives. That means doing things and allocating time that's in harmony with our values. Because there are going to be times in your life where maybe exercise, movement, and your health in general aren't that important to you because they're just lower on the priority list. Now, that might not be a consistent thing throughout your entire life, but let's say that you have a new child, or that work is really intense, or that there are some family demands. That might be a time where the value that you're placing on your health, or at least the time that you can give towards your health, is lower. And in those times, I think it's best to reflect on living your life in line with your values rather than trying to achieve a balance that's going to be impossible. And this simple switch of mindset where we're going to try and pick things and focus our time on what's important is going to allow us to reduce our stress, anxiety, and the pressure that we place on ourselves to try and be more in balance and spreading ourselves across all of these different things. What this requires throughout these busy times or throughout your entire life is that you are aware of what you want from your life, and really having a really clear understanding of what are your highest values, what's really, really important to you, and then moving towards achieving those goals and living in line with those values by specifically allocating time to them. Because, if health is really, really important to you, and it's more important than, say, getting together with friends or watching Netflix or even going to work, I think that your time and your energy and your efforts are going to have to reflect that if you want to live in harmony with those values. Now, I think that there's only a certain number of things that we can be focused on. I think it's generally 4 or 5 things at once: work, family, health, friendship, whatever it might be. And that because there's only so much time in the day, we're going to have to figure out what we want to do so that we can allocate the right amount of time to each task. Because in the end, if you end up spreading yourself thin, something is going to be compromised, whether it's your work, your health, your family, your friendships. And I think it's just better from the outset to find what a harmonious life looks like for you, figure out what your values are, and don't place any undue stress, anxiety, or any of the compromise that's going to come from spreading yourself thin. And so what I would do as a action step from this podcast is try to think over the next week about maybe where you're spreading yourself thin, or maybe where you're not putting enough time and energy towards something that's actually really important from you, and figure out from the things that are not that important where you can siphon off some time, siphon off some energy, and siphon off some resources. In the end, I think that balance is great if everything in your life has equal value to you and that you want to do things all even Steven. But if you want to be, say, successful in different domains of life, and those things are more important, you're going to have to allocate more time and energy, and don't let any stress, anxiety, or spreading yourself thin hold you back from achieving what you want in those domains of life. So guys, as always, I hope that today's podcast and this mindset idea was valuable. If you can go onto iTunes, give us a rating, like this video that you might be watching on Facebook or YouTube, it'd be much appreciated. And of course, if there's someone in your life that could use this information, please share it. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks' time.